Well, I want to go to part two if you still have a bit of time. I
Yeah,
want to talk
no,
about.
absolutely. Don't even worry. I think there's a mother in the next room.
I want to talk about the album.
Okay.
Uh, the Reaction Arrow is the name of the album.
Yeah.
I took the interview as always if I like the music, and right away that that first song, the first video got my attention right away. It was Sudden News. It was the one that kind of got me hooked.
Yeah.
I love the video. I mean, I'm a sci-fi geek, so it had that spacey feel. This kind of futuristic doom and gloom look. But let's talk about the tracks individually, and
Okay.
we'll see how it goes. This is my take first of all, and then I want to get your take.
Yeah.
So, Sudden News. I felt that if Robert Smith of The Cure joined Arcade Fire, this is what it would sound like.
Okay. That
And
is a massive compliment.
it was like extremely catchy. I mean, it got me hooked right away, and it was in my head like after listening to it once. That's rare. Uh, and if you think about Sudden News, so this is my point of view right now, is the news, the media, is all about fear and doing anything to get eyeballs. It's crazy. And then there's the other kind of news where you get that phone call in the middle of the night that you know from the sound of the voice it's going to be, your heart sinks, you know it's going to be bad. There's all kinds of news that come at us. Let's flip it around and go to a more positive side. There's also news of a new life, like a daughter, like Grace.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel, being able to announce that news? And then we'll go into what said news really means in the album. But first, being a father and having that news, who was the first person you reached out to?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Um, I guess it was definitely, yeah, I guess it was my mother and father. And yeah, it was a pretty great phone call. And yeah, that you just took me by surprise with that question. And yeah, the whole experience was surreal. It took many years. I've been with my wife for 23 years. And so if you can imagine, Grace is 10 months old. That's a long time to go babyless. I think we were 16 when we met. So I think I was 15 actually. So it was illegal. Jane's an older woman by a year. And so, yeah, 23 years later, it was Sudden News. It was actually relief, news of relief that she came. So yeah, we were in Montreal for IVF, and I think we did it almost 9 times. So it was the
What's
Sudden
IVF?
News.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we basically we used the most incredible friend of ours in Montreal, and so he helped us along the journey. And Sudden News can be definitely attributed to that experience. It wasn't very sudden. It was more like a really long psychedelic record that took 3 years to make.
Well, when you knew it worked, it must have triggered this sense of
Yeah,
happiness.
absolutely.
I mean, I have 2 children now, pretty much grown up. You know, all around circling 20s,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's great. We've been married 29 years, so
Congratulations. That's unbelievable.
it's a great thing to.
How old are the kids?
My son is going to be 19, and my
Okay.
daughter is going to be 21.
Amazing. Amazing.
Pretty close together.
That's great. Yeah. So we were in Montreal for, a lot of great reasons. We love Montreal. We have a lot of friends there and family. So, but for
Now you have a new friend.
yeah, thank you. We're going to visit you. We're going to come probably April or something like that. In the new year once it's safe.
Yeah.
So yeah, but definitely. So yeah, Sudden News. I would say your previous meaning, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, there was definitely the Sudden News, the phone calls and the information that you get on a personal level, on a very intimate level. When you get bad news, when there is a complete shock to the system, when there is a change of your life trajectory and everything changes and you do your best to navigate. That is, and for directly who the song is for, and you know, to my mother-in-law and my brother, my brother-in-law Mike. I mean, the song is for them. It is directly. I am very vivid memories of writing the song for them, and I think it's one of the best songs I've ever written, if I can say so. I guess I don't know if that's a cool thing to say, but I feel very confident that there's a reason why that's the first song on the record. It means the world to me, that song, and it turned out. I think it turned out okay.
Yeah, it totally blew me away for sure.
Thanks.
I was like, yeah. Second song, Soft Shoulder. It could be something that's on the side of a road, but it also could be a friend who lets us unburden ourselves, the safe space. Why is that important to have that soft shoulder in life?
It's really funny. We were driving back from Montreal, right from song 1 to song 2. I'll never forget. We were driving back every month for a whole year, and I kept on seeing on the way from from the way from Montreal to Toronto, the same soft shoulder sign on the side of the highway. And I just looked to my wife and I said, Jane, that's my next chorus. This song's, you know, I didn't tell her this at the time, but it's definitely about her. It's about the experience that we had, and it's about that soft shoulder that you have, and it's for people that are there for you. And so definitely, you know, it sounds like almost kind of mushy now that I'm explaining it. No one's ever really asked me these questions before, but the soft shoulder, I just thought it was really hooky, and I thought it just had a really great metaphor in life. And so it seemed to, on the record, link quite well with Sudden News. So I guess you're absolutely right. The thoughts that you have about these songs are the thoughts, I guess, I hope that listeners could have and are apparently having. So that's cool.
So I think there's a link between your wife and my wife. My wife is an empath. She's very good at feeling what other people are feeling, but yet the soft shoulder oftentimes comes from the strongest people. I think women can be extremely strong,
absolutely
resilient. I mean, just the birthing process in itself is something that no man would probably, we get man colds, right? So birthing process is
next repeat that last line. I just had an incoming call and I had to take it away. So just
no problem.
What was the last line that you just said?
I just saying that no man would want to go through that process. We have man colds.
Yeah.
And yet what they go through is just incredibly. That whole process is just you're in awe at their strength, and yet
there's no man. There's no man. There's no Manville that can understand what a woman goes through. I mean, honestly, it's they are beyond, absolutely beyond, absolutely.
Zoo Bombs Away. In this song, I heard a little bit of Jello Biafra in
cool.
Digging Deep.
Yeah.
Who's the Animal Man?
It's funny. There's, I guess it's self-reflective, but the ode is to Don Matsuko from the Zoo Bombs, the most legendary Japanese independent rock and roll.
You did a reunion tour with them, as I was looking in through your...
Yeah, we did some shows with them. We've done a few shows with them over the years. We love them. Like I guess the crush goes back both ways. They really enjoy playing with us and hanging out after shows and sleeping on Terry's living room floor together. We have a lot of fun in Kingston, wherever we are together. The Zoo Bombs, I guess I just wanted to lighten the mood on the record. And I wanted to, there's a few songs. This record is not only a personal ode to family, but it's also a little bit of a nod to like all the inspirations that I've had that I've played with band-wise, and some of the bands that we grew up with as kids, which we'll get to on tracks later on in the album. But Zoo Bombs Away is a direct nod to the Zoo Bombs. But Animal Man is also my publishing company called Animal Man Music Publishing.
Okay.
it's a small little sort of publishing label that I release all my stuff under solo and for the Manvils. And so I think someone kept on referring to me that in Vancouver, because I climb a lot live onto bars and into bathtubs. There's a bathtub at a venue I think I climbed into, and breaking guitars, all that sort of, and it's all very, I guess, animalistic to that person who kept on calling me Animal Man. And so I thought Don was the true Animal Man because that guy takes it to the next level. And that's where Animal Man comes from. It's all about the zoo bombs. And it's personal, but at the same time, I'm definitely paying it forward to respecting those guys.
It was a catchy song. I thought it was great too. Next up is Pony Up. Obviously, to pony up is to pay back a small debt.
Yeah.
So what did you have to pay back?
Well, it's actually a nod to another band. We had a really great night with a band called the Pony Show, and Pony Show are from Detroit. And I set up a big show. They came in from Detroit. Jason Stolsteimer he is in a legendary old school Detroit band. Oh my God, their name escapes me right now. But basically, he looks exactly like me. He is my twin brother. And so when we started talking online, we couldn't believe it. We've seen each other at shows before. And so we finally played a show. And I told him at the end of the night, because everyone kept on, his whole band came up to me and said, "Man, we're supposed to be on stage right now." And I looked over and I said, "I'm in the Manvils. We're playing after. But I know that you think I'm Jason because we live on stage. But I'm going to write a song about you guys. And I'm going to call it Pony Show." Or I'm going to call it Pony Up. And so it's another nod to another band on this record. So Pony Show gets track number 4, and of course there's a metaphor to that too, and it's all the things that you're probably thinking about, paying off debts, and it's also steeped in personal experience because the Pony Show nod was more just for inspiration, and so. When you hear the line, I think in the second verse, there's the like the horse's head. It defines it defines the days we spent tucked away in bed. I can't say for sure if the road finds a trail. Grab the wheel in the moment from the backwoods to the hills, right? And so like that line is definitely us coming out of the intense place that we were for those 5 years as caregivers and after. And so, so that definitely maintains that personal feel but yeah, paying things back, it actually has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the nod to Pony Show.
And hopefully has nothing to do with The Godfather and horse heads.
Right. Yeah, I remember writing that line thinking, ooh, juicy. This is total Godfather vibes, Godfather vibes all over it. So I was into that. I hope you were feeling that vibe too.
Wow, just got to fly right through the Zoom call. I got Zoom bombed by a fly right now.
Yeah, you Zoom bombed. Yeah, you did.
Zoom. Who knew? Maybe, yeah, I got Zoom bombed.
Trademark.
Reaction Arrow. The title of the LP. In it, you talk about this burning arrow.
Sorry, this what?
A burning arrow. You talk about it burning.
Yeah.
What would that be about?
Sorry, please repeat the question again. Sorry.
It's okay. You talk about this arrow burning. If I got the lyrics right, because
no, let's just get to the lyrics. Bonds. It bonds. Bonds.
I heard burns.
So what it is? Sorry, I didn't send the lyrics over. But what it is my dad is very scientific, my father, and amazing mathematician and statistician, and I am not. So I once again used the reaction arrow in molecular science of the process of the reaction arrow. I mean, if you just Wikipedia it, it's like literally one microorganism fueling the next in, I guess, using momentum to drive all particles forward. And I just thought that was a really great metaphor for getting through life. And so it's also something that bonds to you as a human. It bonds to me, it bonds to all of us. And I guess thinking of the album title and what the title track of the record is, it's not the single. It's probably one of the most hard-hitting and harder to sort of, I don't know about what you thought of it, but it's a song that, you know, if I play it for my sisters, they go, oh, I don't know if that's my favorite song, because it's pretty visceral. But it's definitely a song that means a lot in the chorus, and it means a lot to the entirety of what I'm trying to say on the record, where we're just trying to get through something from point A to point B. And reaction arrow is the actually nerdy scientific way, in the most basic form of our science, of things to move forward. So I thought that was something that mattered, and I thought it also had a pretty good ring to it. So hence the title track of the record.
It makes a lot of sense now in retrospect, now that I got the correct meaning.
No.
When you're journey through life, we meet different people. For you, it was also different bands. You meet them, and they kind of give you that little push, that little extra energy to, you know, take it another day or go through whatever pain you're going through, and just And it's like this chain reaction, and that's what the human life is all about. To me, is about, like you said, one of the biggest thing you want to be remembered for is that helping other people. You've obviously been helped along the way, and you can reciprocate that.
Absolutely. There's been a lot of people that have helped the Manvils. We're not a major label band. We've never been. We had a lot of help from John in Chicago and in California, to Richie, the label head, and everyone around, and all the other people we've worked with, the Ryan Dolls of the world. There's been a lot of people that have helped us make really great records and helped us tour. And Isabel, who helped with Sandbag Records. Yeah, there's been a lot of people that have come in and not been paid a lot of money or nothing at all to help things happen.
Expats, next song on the record.
Yeah, right. Track. I guess it's the first song on side B.
Okay, I was listening to it on Spotify, so.
Yeah.
But I am a big vinyl fan, which we should talk about too, because I guess I missed out, because it's interesting because you guys do these limited pressing test presses.
Yeah, that was something new. That was just, and especially.
But you've done it in the past too at shows. You'd say, like, come by 9:30 and the first.
Yeah, we love that. I mean, it's just really cool. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of limited BHM Black History Month Nikes. I've been wearing them for my whole life, and I just I love little limited release things, in guitar pedals, amps. Yeah, so why not do it as a band, right? We're not mass producing anything, so it makes the fans feel really special, and I'm happy to.
For me, it's
have that.
signed vinyl. I really enjoy signed vinyl. For one, because I know that I have some sort of connection to the band. It reminds me of either a show I've been to, and that I got to support the band, or they've some of them have gifted it to me as a thank you too. And I just like looking at that signature. It's not because of the fame. I mean, a signature is it doesn't mean anything, but it's just that it's just a little something special that makes this vinyl different from any other one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
anyway, go ahead.
So Expats is the I guess the way that side B starts, and definitely a song that I'm incredibly proud of. I don't know if what you picked up on that song, or
Well, I really enjoyed it as well. And I know it was the title of your EP, so obviously it's been in the baggage for a while.
Yeah.
Like you said, it got remade a little bit.
Yeah.
I was an expat in Mexico for 5 years. I got to live there with my family when they were young.
Amazing.
And it's interesting when you're a true expat, when you're in a minority in another country, you really stick out. Luckily, Mexico is a place where there's such a beautiful, generous, hardworking people.
Yeah.
And they welcome you.
Absolutely.
I could see that, being an expat in the U.S. or Canada sometimes can be very hard for people, because not everybody's as welcoming as the ones that were in Mexico for us.
Yeah.
But I do feel like a minority. You kind of do feel that you stick out, and sometimes you end up sticking together. But we would always not want to be that type of person. We'd always want to reach out and enjoy the local food,
Hmm.
go where the locals go, hang out with the locals, and try to mix it up because I don't think it's good for people to uh, stick close together. I think having that experience of different cultures and especially what's going on in the world right now. I mean, people
Yeah.
are angry. There's real pain there, and a
Yeah.
lot of it is
Absolutely.
about people not really accepting and not being showing kindness, and that's lacking. And we felt that we were shown kindness, so we show kindness back. What is it
Absolutely.
to this song? What's the expat ways, as you said in the song?
Well, it is a political song. I mean, there are nods to uh, oh geez, I wrote the song a long time ago,
Mhm.
but I know that it definitely has um, a sort of anti-military stance to it, and I know that like anti-war, I should say, and it's probably the most political song on the record. But it has personal reference. Almost when you live in Vancouver and you're from Toronto, sometimes people see you as an expat too, because you hang out with people that are all from Toronto, it seems, at times. And people from Vancouver always sometimes like to, poo-poo that city. And so sometimes you feel like an outsider. So there's a lot of personal vibes on that song, but definitely it was just, I'm just trying to think of the lyrics about that song. But yeah, basically, I want people to. I'm just really happy that you think something completely different about that anyone else would think on that song. It's definitely a tune that I'm proud of. When we moved back to Toronto, I wrote that because it was fun to feel like you're back home in the city of Toronto that you were born in. And I remember having that feeling. And yeah, Expats is definitely a song that mattered a lot to us in like 2015 and 16 when we were playing it a lot live. And it just felt like it really um, felt like the Toronto fans were picking up on that live. We had a lot of excitement playing that song live, and I knew that one day it would be on a record because it was working really really well as a live song. And listening to it 5 years later, I was really happy with how Lauren produced it with us and the studio. He's done a lot of stuff with the band, and he's a great engineer, and so he brought that song to a place where still 5 years later, I'm incredibly proud of how it turned out. We just remastered it to make it fit a little bit better through the Neve console to make it fit with the other songs from the other studios.
Next up was championships.
Yeah, that's directly. I'll
Oh,
tell you right now, that's just a nod to my brother-in-law, and we call him Chippo, Mikey Chips, and so championships. He's the biggest fighter and hero I know, and so he went through a lot, and so yeah, that is a direct personal nod to Chippo, and so championships is he's the winner, right? He's a true hero in my books.
obviously leaving a deep legacy behind and good memories. Um,
Absolutely. I don't know what you thought of it, because obviously no one knows the story. So
I picked the words that I picked up. I was to be quite honest, I was doing this like this morning, so I was running out of time.
mhm.
So I spent more time with the first songs than the last
Yeah,
ones.
of course.
The words I picked out was high stakes, is what
Yeah,
got me. Uh,
yeah. So you know what I'm talking about.
I,
High
I
stakes, high stakes. Absolutely.
I think that in life there's a lot of high stakes. There's a lot of decisions we make that like you did yourself. You made the decision to not tour as much to take care of your family. Those are high stakes. You're when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Uh,
Absolutely.
so I think success to me is navigating those high stake decisions
Absolutely.
and coming out to the other side, being proud of those decisions. And
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you you might not know, what I had told you earlier, all that, you know, heavy personal stuff, but I think it's definitely all-encompassing theme that everyone battles with, and especially now more than ever, it's high stakes. We've never experienced anything like this in our lifetime, and so I guess you could say the high stakes are paramount. They're here right now, and it's I guess it feels right to release the record during this. I wasn't sure if I was going to release this now or if I was going to wait, and I think we made the right decision because it speaks. My personal experiences that I've had in the past 5 years, 6 years are very much in line with the themes, just the emotions that people are battling with on a grander scale right now. And so, yeah, I think that hopefully that was a good call to release the record.
And I think it's good too, because you know, you release it, you write it because of a certain feeling or something that you're living through, and
Yeah.
yet the listeners, the fans, will sometimes apply to their own lives. It could be a whole different narrative, and that's a beautiful thing, because it's living. It's a living organism. I think music is a living organism, even if it's stuck in time in a recording.
Mm-hmm.
It lives on because it takes on new meanings. Watching a movie, you're watching, or even a music video for that matter, you're seeing the artistic vision of the artist. But when you listen to something auditory, you make your own movie in your head. So for me, it was high stakes. But for somebody else, it might be something else that they pick up on.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. I just hope that all your followers feel the same way. So that's really cool. I'm glad you feel that way.
All three of them, right?
No, you're right.
Amplified, and it's the next one.
Yeah.
And from that one, I was picking up. I picked up the word forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Something that struck a chord for me.
Yeah. Amplified was actually, there's a drift away to Redwood, a finish line where I am, the lions of a lost tongue, volcano set in motion, I got you. And so we recorded this record. I know that last year in Redwood City in John's place, I still wanted that extra song. And I remember we had 9 that we were really, really happy with. And I just, you know, the other songs on the EP, I said, okay, I know I can do better. I know I can finish this album with a new song. I've got a month to write it before we go back in to finish with John. And it was a nod to finishing the record in Redwood City. And the Lions of a Lost Tongue, it's not on this record, but it's one of the first lines of an EP that we recorded in Vancouver, the last EP that we recorded in Vancouver. And it talks about being, you know, living in Canada, but of course having family that are from Eastern Europe, from all over the world, them being born in refugee camps, being born in countries during the war, and coming back here and their grandparents, my grandparents, their parents, making it through, you know, with little in their pockets. And I refer to that era and to that determination as Lions of the Lost Tongue. So you kind of, you know, by the time you're in the second generation or the third generation Canadian or North American, you know, you're losing a little bit of where you came from. And so you're fighting through it. So you're the lion, and Lions of the Lost Tongue is just sort of something that represents where we came from, and hopefully not forgetting your past. And, you know, I can still speak, right? So I still have my old Ukrainian language with me that my grandparents taught me. I couldn't even speak English until I was 8. So that song is personal for that exact reason. And for finishing the record, it was kind of like the finish line where I am. So, yeah, that song, it really ties the record together, I think. And I think some people have recently told me that I'm sending some vinyl out to Manitoba, because when we were promoting it this week, he said, "Oh my God, it sounds like early Neil Young and Crazy Horse." And that was a really huge compliment from these guys.
I was trying to pin it, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I guess I kind of threw some old school guitars. To be particular, NKT 213 germanium resistors, made, I think it's this pedal right here. made on that song. This is the Arcane Analog NKT 213 Burns Buzzround clone. One of the best pedal tones I've ever heard is from this pedal. And the NKT 213 is a germanium resistor, and the circuit is basically made famous by Michael Frett from King Crimson. And so it's that wall of sound, right? It doesn't get lost like a Big Muff. It doesn't break up and sound thin like an MK1 or has the shrill top end of an MK2. This is a circuit that came out a few years later in the 70s. And this is a copy of that. And this is another one of the same circuit from the UK. And this is not on the record, but it's basically a very similar sound. And it's a Burn Buzzround NKT 213, 214 clone by Pig Dog, so Indica and Arcane Analog. But that is the tone on the song that we're talking about. And on about 5 songs on this record, I use this pedal. So hope you like it.
And just going back to the Ukrainian thing, my wife was, I wouldn't say mad, but she was disappointed that her dad did not teach her Ukraine.
Yeah, people think that.
So sometimes it's unfortunate, but the newer generations kind of lose out on that family history and heritage. And it's beautiful to keep these old language. Well, they're not old languages. All languages are old, but to keep these memories alive and keep the stories together.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
We're almost done. We have 2 left. No, yes, 2 left.
Yeah. Are you happy with the way things are going?
Yeah, I'm very happy that you're extremely generous with your time, and I thank you for that.
Absolutely.
I have a day off, so the phone's not ringing. I'm normally doing tech work in my day job. Costume jewelry. Now, when I think of costume jewelry, I think of someone trying to pretend that they're someone they're not. It's trying to be flashy when you don't really have substance.
It's basically from the last song we talked about of my grandfather and these people that did everything for their families. There were a lot of secrets that were had as well, and I probably won't go too into specifics with it, but costume jewelry is basically living a lie for the majority of your life and being found out. So I'll let the listener listen. But it's of that generation, things that people were not allowed, they weren't allowed to be themselves. And that song particularly is exactly what you're talking about. It is, he also, after he passed away, I received many of his, couple of his gold rings that I have in the case. So yeah, he was an interesting character with a lot of secrets, and so that song is directly in memory of that. So as you can see, there's a lot of private stuff on this record.
Well, it's good. Keeping the mystery is good because it will mean something for somebody else.
Yeah, you listen to verse 2, you'll totally know what I'm talking about.
I will revisit it when we're done. And we round out or finish off the album with Tambourine Era. Which tambourines to me a reminiscence of innocence and peace. What does the tambourine era mean to you?
Well, I'll tell you exactly when it happened. It's a very vivid memory. The gentleman who I sent this phrase to just recently picked up the vinyl. I'm sending it off in the mail tomorrow because it's Canada Day, so everything's closed. And so Patrick Jacobson, a great musician from the West Coast, he's battled a lot in his life. He's had multiple heart surgeries. He is one of the strongest people I know. And when his band was recording on a different floor, same studio, different producer, I remember listening to his band and going, man, you guys, with these tambourines, you guys are like channeling the 60s. This is tambourine era, if I've ever heard it. And I remember them looking at me going, man, that sounds like a song. And I said, okay. I think I said the line, so I believe I can write that song. I'm gonna keep that in my head. And a few years later, when I was searching for something, and finally the verses came out, I recognized that I could write this song about all the bands that inspired me growing up. So I believe the first line of the song is Arthur Lee got a hold of me. I got a kink in my right hip. So it's basically Arthur Lee from Love and the Kinks, and later on By Hook or by Crook, which is a line that John Lennon used to write in his book, By Hook or by Crook, I will be the last in this book. There's a reference to a few other bands. And then in the bridge, the pick was handed down, which is basically the last line of the song. Just waiting for the act to come to town, which is basically being a young kid just waiting for Nirvana, all your favorite bands, the Manvils at the time of the mid-90s, being allowed or not allowed to go to them, depending on if your parents found out you were going to these shows. It's just being in that place, that very, that place where you're looking up to all those bands that are changing your life by the night and by each time you play them. And the old classics too, right? Bands like Love I got into in my 20s, bands like the Kinks in my late teens. And so all of these influences, I guess, are tied into this song. And I thought it was a pretty poignant album closer because the Manvils at this time, as an independent band and releasing this record, are now passing the pick down to some of the younger kids that I've sold the vinyl to this past week. And I hand delivered one to a gentleman by the name of Romeo. And I think the parents thought he was obviously living at his parents' house because when I met him, he was very young, definitely like 17 or 18. And he bought the vinyl last week. He bought one of the first copies. And I think his parents thought that I was just some burglar or something on the front steps because I wasn't dressed in a Canada Post outfit. But that's what I'm talking about. I was passing it down. It was literally handing the signed vinyl to this 17-year-old last week. And that song is just totally about that. It's about, that this kid probably plays guitar because he had really long hair and he was 17. So what else could you be doing with that hair if you're not headbanging? So I guess it's just my way of sort of paying it forward in the small way that we are the Manvils, an independent band from Vancouver and Toronto. And just, the bands that inspired us.
And like that reaction arrow, you're maybe giving him a little spark of something, some creativity that he'll take, and he'll go and influence others and make a life out of. Give life.
Yeah, I've never talked about all these songs in succession, so I guess maybe there just might be one theme or two themes running through this record. Very, very interesting to sort of let it all come out because this is one of the first interviews I've done on this record. So, I really appreciate it.
I thank you for your generous time. If ever live shows are a thing again, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they'll be back, I'm sure.
I look forward to seeing you guys perform this, especially some of the songs that I'm starting to really dig. And until next time, buddy.